and Vladimir Putin has used his annual Victory Day speech in Moscow's Red Square to justify his war in Ukraine and denounce NATO. Speaking in front of hundreds of military personnel and flanked by a few world leaders, the Russian president said he was fighting a just war and called Ukraine an aggressive force that is being armed and supported by the whole bloc of NATO.
As negotiations between the United States and Iran enter a critical stage, a small but influential hardline faction has intensified efforts to sabotage a potential deal with Washington, fueling President Donald Trump's claims of divisions within the Islamic Republic. The group shares Trump's view that the 2015 nuclear deal between Iran and world powers was a mistake, but for different reasons. Its positions are so hostile to the West, even by the standards of Iran's conservative hardliners, that the regime's efforts to appease it have so far failed.
And Russia has kicked off its annual Victory Day military parade in Moscow to mark the defeat of Nazi Germany during the Second World War. The parade, scaled back this year due to security concerns, started at about 10 a.m. 07 GMT in Red Square with a military formation bearing the Russian flag.
Islamabad police has issued a diversion plan for the Yumi Marka-e-Haq on May 10, with road closures and alternate routes announced for commuters traveling across Islamabad and Rawalpindi. According to the plan, traffic diversions will remain in place from 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. on several major roads in the capital.
The England and Wales Cricket Board, ECB, has confirmed that it will not approve bilateral cricket matches against Afghanistan outside International Cricket Council (ICC) events, citing ongoing concerns about women's rights under Taliban rule. ECB chairperson Richard Thompson said the board's position remains unchanged due to restrictions placed on women and girls in Afghanistan, including limits on education, public life, and participation in sports such as cricket. Motherboard sales are falling sharply as ongoing AI-related chip shortages continue to cripple the PC hardware market. According to a Digitimes report, shortages tied to rising AI infrastructure demand have pushed prices higher for memory modules, storage drives and processors over the past 6 months.
Israeli settlers have launched another wave of raids in the occupied West Bank, with houses and cars set on fire and a Palestinian child attacked. The Palestinian Wafa news agency reported that a man and his child were attacked with sharp instruments in the village of Kirbet Shueika, south of Hebron, on Friday.
And a cruise ship hit by a hantavirus outbreak is en route to Spain's Canary Islands, where it plans to drop off 140 passengers and crew so they can be evacuated after weeks stranded at sea. The Dutch-flagged MV Hondius vessel, on which at least 8 people fell ill, is due to reach the Spanish island of Tenerife, off the coast of West Africa, early Sunday morning. And the Lahore High Court, LHC, has ruled that women are eligible to be appointed as permanent lumberdars, setting aside executive orders issued by the Punjab government in a case related to a village in Lodran. In a 7-page judgment authored by Justice Raheel Kamran, the court allowed a petition filed by a woman challenging the decisions of the Lodran Deputy Commissioner and the Board of Revenue, which had appointed another individual as permanent lumberdar. And Vivo may be preparing to revive its S-series smartphone lineup after almost 6 years, according to a new rumor shared by a tipster on X. The company launched the first Vivo S1 smartphone in July 2019, followed by the Vivo S1 Prime in August 2020, which became the last device in the lineup.
Former Pakistan captain Azhar Ali has joined the Scotland men's cricket team support staff as a consultant for their upcoming ICC Cricket World Cup League 2 (CWCL2) tour of Nepal. Beginning May 12, Azhar, who played 97 test matches and 53 one-day internationals for Pakistan national cricket team, will work alongside Scotland head coach Owen Dawkins during the tour. Scotland will face both Nepal national cricket team and United States national cricket team in the series. The US government has released dozens of previously classified files related to alleged UFO sightings, with President Donald Trump's administration calling it an effort to offer unprecedented transparency to the public. The latest batch includes around 160 files containing documents, photos and videos linked to what officials describe as unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAP. The Defense Department said more material will be made public as additional records are declassified.
And Pakistan has raised alarm at the systematic annexation of the occupied West Bank, expansion of illegal settlements and the forced displacement of Palestinians, calling for the intervention of the global community. The stance was expressed by Pakistan's permanent representative to the United Nations, Ambassador Azim Iftikhar Ahmad, at the ARIA Formula meeting on the situation in the occupied territory. And some schools and universities whose students' data was stolen by a cybercriminal hacking group as part of an April breach of the educational tool Canvas have reached out to the hackers to prevent their data from being released. And a source familiar with the matter said on Friday, Shiny Hunters, a hacking group with a string of data theft and extortion campaigns targeting major global companies, said in a May 3 post on its website that it had stolen roughly 6. And 65 terabytes of Canvas data related to nearly 9,000 schools worldwide that included student names, email addresses, and private messages between students, teachers, and other staff.
The World Health Organization's chief is due in the Spanish island of Tenerife on Saturday to help coordinate the evacuation of passengers hit by the hantavirus. Spanish ministry sources said Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus will accompany Spain's health and interior ministers to a command post there to ensure coordination between administrations, health control and the application of the planned surveillance and response protocols, the sources said. Russian President Vladimir Putin has begun presiding over a pared-back Victory Day parade on Moscow's Red Square after a 3-day ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine took effect. Russia's annual May 9 parade commemorates the Soviet Union's victory over Germany in World War II. Under Putin, it has come to symbolize the country's military strength. The Punjab government has approved a major project aimed at improving English language education in government schools across the province, allocating FAR's $500 million for the initiative. According to officials, the Punjab Education Curriculum, Training and Assessment Authority, ISPECTE, has been assigned the responsibility of implementing the programme.
Fresh talks between the United States and Iran could begin as early as next week in Islamabad, according to a US media report, as both sides work through mediators to revive diplomacy after weeks of military escalation. The report said negotiators are drafting a one-page, 14-point memorandum of understanding that would lay out the framework for a month-long round of talks aimed at ending the conflict. If progress is made, the process could be extended with mutual consent.
And DJI has unveiled the Osmo Mobile 8P smartphone gimbal with a detachable remote control featuring a built-in touchscreen. The remote mirrors the live view from the connected smartphone and includes a joystick that allows users to control the gimbal remotely while framing shots with the phone's rear cameras.
court in Islamabad has issued arrest warrants for the operators of 16 housing societies over non-payment of dues worth $1.8 billion to the Capital Development Authority, CDA. Senior Special Magistrate Sardar Mohammed Asif directed the concerned station house officers, shows, to arrest the operators and present them before the court on May 14.
And Karachi Mayor Murtaza Wahab came under criticism on Friday after arriving at the Sindh Assembly on an e-bike without wearing a helmet, even as the city continues to enforce hefty fines against motorcyclists for the same violation. Footage circulating online showed the mayor riding the electric motorcycle into the assembly premises without protective headgear.
Karachi. The Sindh government has issued a no objection certificate NOC to Arat March Karachi for their planned gathering on Sunday at Seaview, but with 28 conditions, including restrictions on the content of slogans raised, it emerged on Saturday. The march is planned to be held at Seaview on Mother's Day, May 10, 2026, which is observed on the second Sunday of every May. Pakistan and Bangladesh have signed a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, to strengthen bilateral cooperation against drug trafficking and narcotics abuse. The Ministry of Interior said on Saturday the development came during Interior Minister Mohsin Naqvi's visit to Dhaka, where he met his Bangladeshi counterpart Salahuddin Ahmed, according to the ministry.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky agreed to uphold a three-day ceasefire announced by US President Donald Trump, while Russia holds its annual Victory Day parade on Saturday, though the event was set to be scaled back over security fears. Russian President Vladimir Putin has made the memory of the Soviet victory over Nazi Germany a central narrative of his 25-year rule, staging massive annual parades in Moscow on May 9, in part to rally the Russian population behind the military offensive in Ukraine.
And the Greek military is examining a mysterious unmanned naval drone spotted in the Ionian Sea by local fishermen. They found the vessel in a cave near the island of Lefkada on Thursday and alerted the Coast Guard, which then towed it to the nearby port of Vasiliki. The Greek Defence Ministry is now overseeing the investigation. And a dominant Victor Wembanyama powered the San Antonio Spurs to a 115-108 win over Minnesota and a 2-1 lead in their NBA playoff series, as the red-hot New York Knicks beat Philadelphia again for a 3-0 advantage. A defensive menace all night on Friday, French superstar Wembanyama took a tight, tense and physical game out of the Timberwolves' grasp with a stunning fourth-quarter offensive, scoring 16 points.
England and Wales Cricket Board, ECB, is planning a major change to the scheduling of England men's Test cricket, with more five-match home series being considered, including a proposed long series against Pakistan. The ECB is moving away from the traditional system of reciprocal home and away series for the next cycle of the ICC World Test Championship, which begins with next summer's home Ashes series against Australia national cricket team. With his decision to pull some US troops from Germany, his threats to draw down forces elsewhere in Europe, and his downplaying of recent attacks on an important Gulf partner, President Donald Trump's latest moves foreshadow what could be the war's enduring legacy, the fraying of ties with key allies, even as the US and Iran inch toward a potential off-ramp. Trump's words and deeds have revived fears among Washington's long-standing friends, from Europe to the Middle East to the Indo-Pacific, that the US might be unreliable in a future crisis.
And A US fighter jet disabled 2 Iran-flagged tankers on Friday by firing precision munitions into their funnels, the US military said, demonstrating the precision of the weapons in use. US Central Command, which oversees Middle East military operations, released a video, it says, shows the tankers, the Sea Star 3 and the Sevdasi, being hit by a US Navy FCA-18. It said the vessels were violating the US blockage of Iranian ports. And hantavirus cases in Argentina have almost doubled in the past year, with the country recording 32 deaths alongside its highest number of infections since 2018. The rise comes as Argentine authorities race to trace the footsteps of a couple who travelled extensively in the country and later died amid an outbreak of the virus on the cruise ship MV Hondius, which left port in Ushuaia, southern Argentina, on April 1 and is currently on its way to Spain's Canary Islands.